Okay, so I'm calling to order the meeting, CCS Circulation Tech Group meeting. And the first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, January 14th. So anybody want to
I'll make a motion.
motion? Thank you. That's
Second.
Mina.
Maggie from Round Lake.
all right. Thanks, Maggie. Okay, additions to the agenda. We do have some things, I guess we call it the parking lot, which we'll do at the tail end that aren't on the agenda. If that's okay with everybody, I think that'll work,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. Officer reports. I don't have anything as the chair, vice chair.
Nothing.
Okay, secretary.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, CCS staff reports.
Yeah,
Excuse
let's
me.
get through this. I've got more than I thought I would, so I'm going to try to go through this
Okay.
relatively quickly. First thing, I just popped a link to the meeting sign-in sheet in the chat. So if you have a chance during the meeting, open it up so you can enter your name and buy your library. I will also send the link out after the meeting just in case you aren't able to get to it. So no worries if you can't open it at the moment. Let me share my screen because I do have slides to go with my updates. Okay. I don't know why that's not displaying. Let's try this again. Oh, there we go. Phew. Okay, so few updates from CCS. The first thing I just want to mention is a new couple new languages added to language spoken at home. So we have added both Mandarin and Cantonese to the list. Up to that point, we just had Chinese as a language option. So if your library collects language spoken at home when you're registering patrons, you can decide, basically you can decide which language you want to use based on what you use that demographic information for. The next thing, I have a few related updates for notices. First of all, update for libraries who are still using custom hold language notice. Those customizations will be in place and we can expect them to stay in place through the end of June. At that point, we'll be reevaluating if we should go back to standard hold language notice or if we should keep those customizations in place. So I'm sure you will see more updates and questions and information about that as the months go on. And then you can always view notice text in a web report called Notice Text All Libraries. This report is found under the policy section. So you can just double check what your library has if you want. And then you hopefully saw the circulation listserv email earlier this week about plain text overdue email notices. So this is, like I said, this is an issue affecting a very specific notice type. So again, just the plain text version of the overdue of the email notices. But the issue is that the notice is erroring out and cannot be sent from the server. Typically, after 3 attempts with errors, that notice will default to a print notice. However, there's something about this particular error that's preventing the notice from transferring to print. So the database, basically the database just tries over and over and over again to send this notice out. So Innovative is currently looking into the cause and a fix. CCS has identified the users who receive plain text notices. They've all been switched over to like just the normal HTML notice format. So the users will receive overdue notices. And we'll plan to scan for and update patrons weekly until we have confirmation that this is fixed. We have had bugs in the past with plain text notices. So traditionally we've said like, please don't activate this option for patrons. However, this is an option that patrons can modify in their own account information in the Power Pack. So, patrons here or there may slip through, which is why we're going to keep monitoring this until it is fully fixed. Okay, the next one, I'm sure everyone's wondering what's going to happen with our tech group meetings next year. We have not yet determined whether technical group meetings will be in person or virtual from July forward. So as you likely have seen, we're surveying libraries to get feedback on staff preferences, just to kind of help us inform the decision. And we're surveying each technical group separately. So the circulation survey was sent out to the circulation contact at your library. If the library hasn't submitted a response yet for the survey, you have until next week, until April 15th. So we're looking for just one response per library, per technical group. Yeah, so please don't have your staff, I guess, please don't have everyone on your staff fill it out, but we'll see what it's gonna look like next year. Next one, second to last one, ILL status updates. So this is an ILL update. It goes into effect on Monday. So I did want to kind of just say an additional reminder to this group and ask you to share with your ILL staff. You probably saw the update in the CCS news or on the listservs. But very exciting news, we now have the ability to update ILL request statuses. Traditionally, these statuses have been locked because of third-party integrations that we don't use. What's happening now is like when you place that new interlibrary loan request, the status by default is inactive, which can be very misleading for patrons. So Innovative will be updating the status for us the morning of Monday, April 11th. The status will now display as requested. And this will display both to patrons when they're looking at their account Power Pack and to staff in LEAP. The only area we are not able to update it is in the request manager. So just a heads up for that. But here's just some screenshots of what it will look like both to staff in LEAP and to patrons in the pack.
So I can send you, yes.
Just pausing to see if there was any questions that were coming through.
Yeah.
And then my final update. I'm just going to open up so I can mute everyone here. And do unmute yourself if you want to talk. I just want to cut out some background noise. My final update is about the 7.1 upgrade. So our next software upgrade is scheduled for after hours on May 10th. We will be sharing updates in the coming weeks in CCS news and through system status. There is no new circulation related features this time. All the new features are mostly tech services related. But we will see a very nice bug fix with the driver's license field. So if you use that field and you scan a driver's license, you've probably noticed you've been prompted to leave the site every time you scan. That bug is fixed. So you will no longer be prompted to leave the site. Another thing to be aware of is that because there's so much new tech services information coming in, there's like certain areas you may see like new options or new like record fields, I guess. So one of the biggest areas you will probably see a change is when you're opening up the LEAP Find tool. You're going to see a lot more record types in there that you can search for. So just be aware that after May 10th, the Find tool options are going to be expanded. Okay. Those are my updates. I know I went through those pretty quickly. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask or reach out to me later if you want to ask directly.
Okay, thanks, Miyako. All right, next is old business, which we have none. And so let's get to the new business then. First thing on the list is revised documentation, and this is Miyako. Well, there you go.
share my screen again here.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's just a piece of documentation that we are revising part of the workflow. So we do need to get approval from the tech group. So this particular revisions, these are additions to an existing piece of documentation called re-registering or updating users. And the updates are to accommodate patrons with NCOA or national chains of address related fields. So, excuse me. Excuse me. Draft of the updated documentation was sent along with the agenda. This draft has been reviewed and recommended by the Circulation and Interlibrary Loan Advisory Group at their March meeting. So quick background of this topic. Last year, CCS began a group submission process for the USPS National Change of Address or NCOA service, which compares patron addresses in our database to what's on file with the United States Postal Service. And using that, we can determine if patrons have moved or if they still reside in their service area and either block or extend their accounts as needed. So with this, there are several pieces of information that are added to a user's account if they've been reviewed through the NCOA process and reported as having moved. So the first thing that's added is a non-blocking note that's added to basically every patron who's updated through this process. If the user has moved, the note indicates that a new address was returned through NCOA. And then depending on what updates the library wants to apply to their patrons, the user may also have a library assigned block added to their account. And this block will say invalid address and COA. The other piece of information added is the user's new address. Their old address, it's still retained in their account, but the address type label is changed to previous home, just to indicate that this is the old address on file. So what staff are beginning to see with these patrons, if the user has moved into a different CCS service area and then goes to their new home library for a card, staff at the new home library need to re-register this user as their own. So just for an example, if I have a Fremont card and I move to, say, Niles, it's another CCS library service area. So Niles is going to search for me, find my account, and then re-register my account as their own. But the question now is, what do staff do with these NCOA fields? Do they use them? Do they remove them? So the revised draft of that re-registration documentation adds instructions to remove the patron's previous address field, to remove the non-blocking note, and also to remove the NCOA block. And this would be, of course, take place after the user has formally verified their address with their new library. So the revised packet was sent to the group, and let me just open it up here so I can show you exactly where those steps take place. So once it kind of gets into the area of here's the information you need to look at when you're re-registering a patron, there are added information in there when you're to address the address. So it specifically calls out users reviewed by NCOA. If the user has a previous home address field and has verified their new address, delete the previous home field. And then it does instruct users to double check for blocks and or notes that need to be removed, specifically calling out the invalid address NCOA block and specifically calling out the new address returned via NCOA note. So those are the those are the fields that have been added to the documentation. Are there any questions or comments? Tori, I think you are muted, but I see you waving your hand. Let me see if I can unmute you.
Yes, Chuzy has a question.
Yes.
Okay, my question is, when you change it in that field to be registered at our library, is that counted in the number that's a new patron for us?
Yeah, in the web report, monthly circ department stats, Bob does call it out in a specific field. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what that, okay, I see Karen pulling out a report. It's like users who migrated to, thank you, Athena.
Yeah.
You're fast.
The other question that I also have is, when we do that, all the holds and everything transfer, right?
Yeah,
Automatically, and we don't have to contact them, the previous library, and say, okay, you know what, they just moved here and.
nope. If someone has moved into your district and you are modifying their existing record, since you're using their existing record, you're not creating a new record. So everything remains as is on their account. So if they have holds or anything, nothing's going to happen with them. And you do not. Oh, sorry,
Except
go
for
ahead.
the pickup location may stay the same for their old, home library or whatever.
That's
I
a
mean, the holds will stay on, but the pickup location wouldn't change to the new library.
So can we fix that?
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you can certainly update the pickup location for patrons.
Where is that on the field? On the check-in?
There's a place for you to do it.
Oh,
I'll show
okay.
you.
Yeah, yeah, you need to go into the actual hold request record and update it there.
You can do
Okay.
that.
And what about their ebook? Let's say they took an ebook from a previous library and then we switch it to ours and they're not yet done with it. Does that transfer?
The ebook should remain checked out to them. What you'll want to do, and I believe this says it in the the existing documentation, is that you will want to, yeah, here, let me share my screen real quick so I can show you.
I can't get it to-
So there is, in the existing documentation, there is a note about copying and pasting their old barcode into the former barcode field before adding in their new barcode number. Because patrons who use ebook services may need to have their former barcode retained in order to merge ebook vendor accounts. So I would talk with your whichever department manages like your e-content and establish a workflow with them if you haven't yet.
That's all my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mieko, Indian Trails, we have a purple special form that when someone transfers libraries, we ask them if they use e-content. And if they do, then we fill out the form and it goes upstairs to the person in charge to fix the account.
That's a good idea, Donna.
I can send you a link to what the form looks like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Send it
And
to you.
I could
Yeah.
forward it to the listserv if you don't
Okay.
mind. Perfect.
I have a question.
Hey, Jen.
Good morning. So when people, and we don't use NCOA yet, it's on our to-do list. When people move or they're picked up on the NCOA list, do they still get, like, let's say they're signed up for email reminders, and in general, they would get an email reminder saying, hey, your card is going to expire in a month. If they pop up on there, does it get like, does it tell people why they're getting it? It doesn't, because I feel like that could be something from the patron experience that they could be like, well, why am I getting this now? Or how did you know I moved? Or, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So is that on us, like kind of in our education for our patrons when we start using it? Or is it something that hasn't popped up and I'm overthinking it?
Yeah. I would say you're not,
Both
you're
totally
doing good.
possible.
You're doing good thinking. Depending on how your library wants to use the service, there's certainly different things that we can do with the patron's account. So at the most basic, we can put that block on their account. So that won't impact the expiration date. The patrons will still receive notices if they are eligible for any notices. And on their online account, all they will see is that they're blocked. You don't see exactly why. One other approach the library could take is they could individually email the patrons who have or send out, a marketing email to the patrons who have moved. Because we do provide the email addresses if the patron has one on file. So you could easily send out a bulk mail saying, hey, we've noticed you've moved, check out your new home library. Or one other option, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think we've had any libraries ask to do this yet, is we could forcibly expire patron records as well, and that would prevent them from getting expiration reminder. So there's definitely lots of little areas we can think about depending on, like you said, how the library wants to approach the patron experience.
Yeah, Jen, we've only had a few people that were upset with us, but yeah, otherwise people are like, oh, okay, they were pretty that's cool, or whatever. They were like, wow, that's cool, so.
I really like the idea of sending kind of like a welcome email. I don't know if people would think that was creepy. They might think that's creepy too, but that provides a more inviting and welcoming experience even before you've walked in the building sometimes. So
yeah, they like the idea of not their library card automatically renewing,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking too, if libraries are starting to go towards never expiring cards, would that pop into this in any way, shape, or form? Probably not, because their card doesn't expire until they change it then, or until it goes through NCOA. So, okay, I got it. I think I just answered my own question.
And just a plug, we are going to have an NCOA informational webinar in April 21st. If anyone is interested in just kind of seeing an overview about how the whole process works, ask question. Bob's gonna make an appearance. So, if you want to say hi to Bob, you can join in.
Mieko, when is the sign up? Will you announce that or?
Yeah. And our contract is being renewed in April, which is kind of why the webinar is timed this way. But one of the things last year was our first year doing it. And so last year we were like, okay, well, let's have this structured and we'll have everyone kind of do it at the same time. This year, we're not going to have deadlines or anything. It's going to be kind of like a rolling process. So libraries can kind of fit it in with wherever it works with you. So we'll kind of go over all that at the webinar too.
And we can, I apologize, I won't be able to make it to the webinar.
that's
Just to
okay.
confirm, we can still submit twice a year. That's not a
Oh,
problem with
That's
CCS?
not a problem. Since we're
Okay.
doing the group submission, there is no like minimum, no maximum. So
Okay, thank you.
So no more questions about it. This is an action item, so I think we have to vote.
yes.
So how do we want to do that? Do we do where everybody says yay, nay, or in
We'll
the
need
chat writes it, or what do we do?
we'll need a motion and a second. And then this is the tough part about the virtual meetings. The all in
Yeah.
favor, I guess.
I think so. One time we did it where everybody just said yay, and then some people
Yeah,
said
or
nay,
like
and then
nod or something.
and some people typed it one time too. Okay. Well, I take a motion to approve the re-registering and updating users.
I make the motion.
Karen,
I'll
thank you.
second.
Who seconded it?
Anne from Prospect Heights.
Anne. Okay, thank you, Anne.
Mhm.
All right, so all those in favor, say yay, I guess.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay.
Raise your hand, yeah.
Yay, you know.
Yay.
Yay.
Those not in favor, say yay. No, can you say nay? Okay. Okay. Well, it seems like the motion carries, then we will put it into effect.
Excellent. I will make those updates and post them online.
Excellent. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is collections submission update, linked items record, and that's Mieko.
Yeah. I just give me a moment here. I am sorry.
That's all right. Talk amongst yourselves while we're waiting.
Just need to get. Okay, let me share my screen. This one will be really fast. So just a slight review of an email that went out to the CERC listserv last month related to manual charges and collection submissions. So as we know, a fee must have a fee reason of replacement cost or processing charge to count towards that collections minimum submission balance. However, we recently learned that the fee must also be linked to an item record in order to be considered. And a huge shout out to Lisa from McHenry for helping us discover this. So the nice thing is, right, most replacement costs and processing fee charges are automatically linked to item records. So whenever you use that declare lost button to make an item lost, that automatically links it to the item record. So right now we are just talking about like manual fees. So fees you go into the patron's record and add yourself. So for these manual fees, when you are adding the manual fee, make sure, if it's relevant, make sure to add the item barcode either by scanning it in, keying it in, copying, pasting in whatever method you need to use. Staff are awesome, and they're already very much in the habit of doing this, right? So when reviewing patrons, there were less than 5 system-wide that were eligible for collections but had not been sent because of this. So the libraries and I have already taken a look at those patrons, and everything should be resolved there. So, you know, just a reminder to everyone to, when you're adding a manual charge, if it is for an item, don't forget to add that item record barcode. Again, looks like most staff are in the habit of doing this already. So it shouldn't be like a big impact to workflow. Online documentation is updated right now, and then I'll be updating the videos and online courses as time allows. So wherever adding manual charges is mentioned, it will also now include explicit step to add the barcode.
Okay,
So pause for questions on that.
Diego,
Yeah.
we've noticed that when you add a manual charge, it doesn't, and they pay for it, it does not come off their account. The item does not come off of their account when you physically manually add it. If you put it as lost, it does.
Right. So if you're adding a manual charge and the item is still checked out to the patron, those are like essentially two separate actions, records. I don't know what you want to call them. So the manual charge, even if it has that item barcode on it, it's not going to be directly like attached or tied to the item record. So you'll still need to manage that item separately.
Yeah, which comes into a problem when they pay with the self-checkout or online, because we don't know that they did that. So then we have to go into web reports and print out a monthly thing that says who paid for something, so we can make sure it's off their account, the item.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there any way to fix that?
I typically would just check that item in and then charge it to the patron. So
Yeah,
it's
but
not
we don't
listed.
know that. We don't know that, Anne Marie, if they pay it online. We're not aware of that, or if they pay it with our self-checkout machine. We don't know.
But if you go into their let's see, if you, I mean,
If
can't
you
you
check
see it
it
on their
in.
account online? When you go into account, under transaction summary, it should show the payments.
Yeah, but we don't know that unless they say something to us.
There is a.
But if
daily-
you're,
But what do you need to know it for if it's already off their account?
No, it's
You know what I
not.
mean?
she's saying to check it in off their account before you manually bill it. So that way, the only thing that's on the account is the manual bill. Because if you're billing them, why does it need to be checked out to them still?
Right.
Oh, I see what, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Or we look at the daily, there's a daily report on what's been paid. So no
Right.
matter where it's paid, and that's what we do, is go in and then you can go into their account and check it off their account.
Mieko, a question about that daily report of the, of what's been paid. The monthly report, can I assume that is a summary of the daily reports?
Mhm.
I think that's a good assumption, but let me verify with Bob on that one.
All right, thanks.
Is there any benefit to manually charging an item that is lost, the patron admits it, versus just declaring it as lost on their account? You would not want to do that, right?
I agree. You wouldn't want to
Okay,
do that.
I'm just making sure I'm on the same page, because Donna, we ran into the same problems of
Okay,
some staff manually adding the charge, and then
yeah,
they pay for it, but the item is still got like, oh, it's good, like no problems here.
We declare everything lost at Wilmette, just
That's
so
what
that,
I try to get people to do.
yeah, that way we don't do replacement costs or anything, because we don't accept. And what happens is on a yearly basis, because we expunge records after 1 year, makes it easier for our technical services department. If it's billed lost and hasn't been returned, they just wipe it out and the record's gone. So we don't do replacement costs, because I feel like then there's more room for errors. So we just declared lost for everything, so we don't have two records and a patrons and confusion. And they can pay it right away. They tell us it's damaged, we just bill it, they can pay it online and it cleans up their account.
Any other thoughts on that point? No. Okay. We'll move to our next item then, which is the election of the vice chair and chair-elect rather, and the secretary for 2022, 2023. I'll put all your hands down, everybody. We can't have everybody doing it. All right, so Mieko.
Yeah, I'll kind of give a quick overview of
Mhm.
what the roles do, and then
Sounds
everyone
good.
can put their names in.
Yeah.
So first, this is our last meeting of the fiscal year. So like big round of applause to Karen for being our chair
Oh, thank you.
and to Tori for being our secretary.
Yes, very good.
Thank you, both of you.
Mhm.
So yes, their tenures are going to be up at the end of June. Carrie is going to step in as chair.
Yay.
And so we have a couple vacant positions. So just to kind of give a review of what the positions do. So you will be active from the start of the fiscal year, July, through the next June. Secretary, you are a 1-year appointment, so your duties are to take notes during the meeting, compile the meeting minutes. The vice chair / chair-elect position is essentially a 2-year appointment. So you will serve as vice chair for 1 year, and then you will step into the role of chair the following year. So for this person, you would be the chair July 2023 to June 2024. I hope I got those dates right. So your position really as vice chair, you're going to fill in as chair if the chair is unavailable. I'd say we all three kind of communicate about like, here's the draft of the minutes. Does everything look great? It's not a huge time commitment. And then, of course, when you step into the role of the chair, then you'll facilitate the meetings and compile the agenda. So again, I can't,
You can't sell it any more than that.
honestly, I'm incredibly biased, but I'm like, it's fun. It's great.
So is anybody, I guess we'll open it for people that are interested in either of those roles.
Do we want to, would we like to start with the vice chair first?
Sure, so let's do that. Anybody interested or anybody want to nominate somebody? We could do that too.
There's a chat. Athena from Niles is interested in throwing her name in for vice
Yay.
chair.
Okay. We'll wait and see if anybody else is interested.
And Carrie says, Karen made my first year
Aw.
as vice chair very easily.
Aren't you nice? So should we do one at a time and then just we vote then on?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're gonna take a vote all in favor of, is that how we do it?
We'll do the motion, the second, and then
Okay,
approval.
so call for a motion for.
I'll motion.
What?
Anastasia, I'll motion.
Second, who's second?
I'll second.
Carrie, okay. To now then we vote then, right? Is that how we do this? Okay, so then to vote for,
I'm sorry, who seconded?
that was Carrie.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's Athena, right? Let me see.
Yes.
Yeah, so we vote for Athena to be the vice chair for 2022, 2023. All in favor? Aye, yay,
Aye.
wave, right? Any nays? No, it is passed. There we go. Very good, yay. All right, very good. Thank you, Athena. Okay, so then I'm, hold on a second. All right, so now we're gonna do the secretary. So I'm, anybody interested in being the secretary? Or want to nominate somebody?
I should take a turn, but
Yes,
unfortunately,
that's right.
No,
Okay,
I
so
just-
Anastasia, no.
no, I'm gonna be out on maternity leave
Oh.
in the spring, so maybe next time.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
A really good reason.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know I
mean,
should I haven't had a chance yet, but maybe
yeah,
next year.
that's a good reason.
Okay.
Compound it with new motherhood, right?
So we need a secretary. Dun, dun, dun. We can wait. It says 10 minutes next to that for this.
All right,
I love-
if everybody's all right with the way I'm doing it, I'll do it another year if you want. Otherwise, if you don't like my notes, then you have to step up and write them yourself.
I think that's a great idea.
I'll
Yeah.
motion.
It's a
I love your
shocker.
notes.
Wait, who
Your notes
motioned
are the
first?
best.
Anastasia Partridge.
Who seconds it?
I'll
I'll
second it.
You gotta give
Paula.
your name because I can't see who's saying.
Go ahead.
Tim,
Paula.
I'll put you down as the second. And Anastasia, it's my baby present to you.
Thank you.
All right, and so.
Are you gonna find out what it is?
We found out this weekend. It's a little boy.
Oh, nice. And we said the same thing if you said it was a girl, so.
Yeah. As long as it's healthy.
They're all fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at this point, we vote though, because we just motioned, so now we just
Oh,
have to
yeah.
do let's take a vote that Tori is the secretary again.
Will I win?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes. All right, excellent. All right, well, there we go. Thanks, everybody. That was good. We didn't have to come back around to it another meeting later, so sometimes that's happened, so. Okay, let's move on then. So the next thing on the agenda is, oh, me. Okay, so I'm thinking, who said this? And I see my name on there. All right, so the question is, how does your library handle book discussion books? Who requests the copies? Is it your ILL staff or adult services? I guess what I really want to know is, do any of you, well, I do want to, I guess, in the consortium, it's different. I was in a standalone before, and I'm wondering how your departments, if you have any role in the book discussion, like getting the books for the book discussions is really the point. Do any of you do that, or is it the librarians that do it in the adult services departments?
Adult services here at Fremont.
It
Yeah,
is,
adult
okay,
services at Indian Trails or youth services.
okay,
At Grays Lake, I am the book club associate here. I do book club, ILL, and billing, so
Okay.
it's me.
okay.
Adult services does it at our library. Sorry, we have a weird night.
At Zion, it's adults or youth, whoever's doing the book club.
Yeah,
Unless,
it looks like
unless,
a lot of us are that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
unless they need to widen the net, and then they work with ILL in that process.
Okay, that makes sense. All right,
Well,
that was the gist of it, I guess. I was just kind of wondering. It looks like on the chat, a lot of people are saying the adults. Oh, Carrie, you do have ILL staff do that then? Okay, Carrie Library. All right, and McHenry, oh, it is, for McHenry it is ILL, but is ILL in CERC in your department, or is it through the adult service department?
In McHenry, it is in CERC.
Oh, it is in CERC like you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right, so you do it. All right,
We
good.
have-
I'll make note and then reach out to some of you about that though, so. I see. All right, thank you, everybody, for your input on that thought. Okay, so the next agenda item then we'll move along, which is, does your library provide batteries and or earbuds for playaways? And Kim,
Yeah, I have the next couple.
yes, you do.
We had some, with the end of the year coming up, we're looking at things. It just gets thrown in the chat, that's fine. Just wondering, we started removing our batteries from our playaways due to corrosion. We never had them in our youth ones based upon children possibly putting them in their mouth. So if you just throw it in the chat, I'll look through that. We provide batteries for our patrons with their playaways, as well as we just found earbuds at a more reasonable cost, and that's why I put it on the agenda. So that was just one of my questions. My next one is we're looking at purchasing lockers through the ILS with the ILS system through, there's a couple vendors out there. And I wondered who had Biblioteca, Bradford, or another company that you possibly use for offsite or even exterior lockers. I know, Maggie, how you handle yours at Brown Lake unless something's changed. Okay. Does anyone do lockers?
We're thinking about it, but we've been busy with the self-check, so. there's
Looks
still
like Jen has a comment. too. Mhm.
So Northbrook has been working with Biblioteca to install lockers on our site for over a year. And it has been an absolutely dreadful experience. And we are currently on hold deciding if we are going to continue with the purchase. It has
Maybe
not.
you and I can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and it's been it's been something, that has gone on. Some of it was supply chain issues and COVID related things, obviously, but yeah, it's been going on for longer than my tenure. So we'll see what happens this summer, but yeah, feel free to chat.
I say that our usage of it has tapered off since we're full hours now. We might have 1 or 2 uses per month on our lockers. So that's the thing. But Evanston, or no, I'm sorry, no, Evanston. Well, that might be a different group. So okay.
Yeah, our library is really east, closer to the lake, and we have a large west side presence. So we were trying to determine if a west side locker system, because Wayfair is going in, if you're familiar with the corner of 41 and Lake, they're putting in a Wayfair in the old Carson Peary Scott building, it looks like. So that corner is going to get a little bit busier with traffic. So kind of excited about that. Okay, so Jen, we'll talk again.
There's another company though I could suggest. They're called D-Tech. And they sell the lockers too and have a really nice setup. So I don't know if you want another vendor, you name 2, but that's a third one. So
yeah, I've seen the D-Tech. I think
oh, you did. Okay.
Elk Grove has D-Tech. And Jen, did you use D-Tech at another library?
No, I'm a trustee at the Villa Park Public Library, and they're one of the people, they've done a lot of presentations, so you've probably heard that, but procedure wise and stuff like that, Candace Krutler is on it. So I was going to plug her too.
Okay, thank you.
Kim, I will also say, I believe Glencoe, sorry, has lockers. So
I'll get in touch with Danny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone have outdoor lockers? No, right? Because they're new.
I know that Schaumburg, Barrington, Elk Grove all have exterior. Arlington Heights is looking at purchasing lockers. So those are all kind of in the area that I was looking at. So,
so Schaumburg has exterior?
They have exterior in multiple locations. Yeah, and they found Kathy Morgan from Schaumburg found that their most active time was 11 p.m. at night and like between 5 and 6 in the morning for their lockers. So based upon our commute right into the city and people are going back to work off of the metro station and 94 right there, we've been kind of looking at that.
Do you know what company they have by any chance?
They did a Laconia event. I can't remember which one they are using. And I talked with, I'm dropping names, Elk Grove, and he also has, I think they have D-Techs. They just had theirs wrapped. Richie, there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. If you want more, Anastasia, I've done some research. Maybe you and I can talk a little bit.
That'd be great. Thanks, Kim.
Okay. Then my next one, we talked about this when I first started. Does anyone still use library card applications besides the web-based one? Dina, Maggie, okay. Have you updated yours with language about like e-receipts or even now with the moving from another location to indicate that, hey, did you have a previous library card in the consortium or anything like that? Or is it just basic information for the form?
We just
Basic.
recently at Lake Villa added on the back a kind of a little brief survey, like even what brought you in today or what are you interested in, to try to get some, see if people are interested in programs or use services, just to kind of get a feel for that. And we did add the, we're going to be starting an e-newsletter soon. So we started gathering, you know, are you interested in receiving that? So we can start gathering those names to get that going.
If you have anything besides basic on your application forms, would you be able to either send it to me or the group to kind of see what that looks like?
Sure, Kim. Yeah, I can do that.
I'd appreciate it. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah.
Here in McHenry, we include e-receipt questioning, and if you want a text message. I like that survey idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too, especially with strategic planning. I know a lot of libraries have been looking at that for their upcoming or just overall what brought people in. Okay. And then I think I have one more. Oh, we're expanding our library of things. And I know we love library of things as circulation to count all the pieces and move things in and out and storage. And they're great, 100%. But how does circulation handle the wiping of data? If you have specific items that are a little bit more complex, what role do you all play, if any, in the library of things?
We have at Grays Lake, we technically don't have a circulation department. We have public services and resource services, and we work together depending on the item. But as for wiping the data, that's resource services that handles the wiping of the data.
They don't do anything with the library things except check them, and we don't count them, we don't weigh them, we don't do anything. That we check it in, we put it in a bin, adult services picks them up, does their weighing, does their checking, does their counting, their little cards and pieces and stuff. And that's how they deal with it. Sewing machine, 120,000 pieces that are in that sewing machine, they take care of it. All we do is check it out and check it in. The one thing though, which might make us a little bit different, is because we do passports. Currently, I feel like they're more passport services than a circulation team, because we just got to say that, but we did 400 passports last month.
Wow.
So, you know, they can only give us so much to do in the circulation team now. So the other departments deal with their library of things now.
Hey, Maggie, you're muted, but we can still hear you at a far distance. So if you can you unmute your...
Because we have two computers in here, I'm here too. Hi.
Oh, we hear you very clear, but Maggie, it's hard to hear her voice, so.
Sorry. I was
No,
saying,
that's okay.
I was saying that adult services and youth services handle all the counting and weighing of the items. All we do is accept the item, check it off the patron's account, and put it in a bin for them. They come and grab their items and they do all the follow-up. If there's an item missing that's like real important to them, I don't know what, then they come back and bring it to the CERC admin team, which is me and Alicia and another employee, and we follow up with sending out a letter or letting them know, hey, do you have the marker that's missing from this piece? And it's with all the items. We don't touch any of the library things. That's all adult services and youth services. And as I said, it's because we do passports, and that has become our biggest thing right now in circulation is passports. So.
Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate it. I know you do a lot of passports. I remember that from last time.
Yeah, yeah. So.
At Zion, we do the same thing, adult services or youth services, depending upon what it is. We started circling hotspots too, and I told adult services, because they have to explain how to use it and all that kind of stuff, they're responsible for checking in and checking out. The only thing I do is check to make sure that when they're overdue, that I'm billing the accounts. But other than that, adult services handles anything like tech related.
Yeah, for the most part, we send things out, but we're starting to expand in a larger capacity, looking at GoPros, digital cameras, sewing machines, which I'm excited about.
We do it all. We do it at Cirque at Fremont. I did put that in there. We, you know, the GoPros, we're the ones that wipe the data off of them. We have a TV down here to just make sure that someone didn't put something else on the Roku, you know, and delete any of that stuff off. But if there is a problem where you can't get into the, you know, Roku, whatever, application, then that goes up to the adult services to look into if they have to reload it or whatever. So, but you know, we do it all in circulation.
That's smart, having a TV for certain things like that you might be needing to check on, because I know we have to check for movies sometimes, you know, if they're playing or not. Having a DVD player or a Blu-ray player would be helpful. Okay, thank you. Those were my main questions.
Kim, I'm gonna send you, I made a little list. We've got like 12 items. We've got GoPros and microphones and Yokus and DVD digital swapping things and stuff and counts and stuff. And I'll send it to you so you can kind of see what was popular. But yeah, the staff hates doing the Canon camera. They don't like doing the GoPro. And most of the others, the Nintendos and stuff, don't have much in them. But yeah, after we check them in, we do put them back, and the adult services goes through and make sure that anything that didn't get cleared is cleared, and that literally every piece is okay, because the staff, we just make sure they all come back, that it goes out. The patron signs something going, yeah, I got everything that you say is in here. And then when it comes back, we sign a sheet saying, yeah, you brought everything back. And then they double check, because sometimes we can't tell if something is broken. We didn't know. So they double check it, but I have to say they take a pretty good lick, and most of the stuff has gone out. I mean, we've lost little bits and parts. That's why it gets difficult. But yeah, they're not a lot of fun to check out and check in, because they take a lot of time. But we're hoping with self-check that when people see us doing that, then they can go over to the self-check thing and check out. So we'll see.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been looking at our circulation statistics for a couple of different items, and there's some larger libraries out there. There's one that won a grant for colorblind glasses. So that was kind of a really interesting item. So we've been looking around the nation at a couple different libraries and their collections. So it's good to see. Thanks, Tori. That'll be helpful.
Yeah, and I'll also double check our libraries. The librarians right now are working and trying to find spacing and stuff for accessibility type items, like pens that read and out loud and things like that. So I'll let you know when we have those, what we're getting.
Yeah.
I'll say one more thing, Kim. Some of the library of things that they have are like sets and kits and whatever, and adult services does zip tie them when they're on the shelf, because their patrons can just grab them and bring them up to us. And if we know they're zip tied, then we know that ASS checked them and their set should be complete, and off it goes. So that's another little thing that they also do to make it easier for themselves or whoever does it.
Yeah, that'll be good, because it's mostly the storage. Everything's different shaped and different sizes, and yeah. Okay. Thank you all for I think that's my last one. Let me make sure.
Can I build on that one, Kim? Oh, go ahead, Dana.
So Kim, you and I need to talk, because I'm also in the process of, well, Displays is also in the process of expanding our library of things. So I'm running into some storage things, but I'll send you a bunch of stuff. But does anyone's Cirque department deal with their sewing machine? Because that's the big puzzle piece that we're dealing with at Displays right now, between acquisitions, cataloging, adult services. That's the big question mark.
Dana, Indian Trails, we have what we call Launchpad or DMS, and they handle sewing machines and those things.
Okay.
With the sewing machines, all we do is get the holes. So if there's, those are not kept on the shelf, thank goodness. We go to where they're stored, we grab it, we pull the hole, we put it up on our hold shelves. But again, there is one person in AS who's responsible, because they know about sewing and they know whatever it has, and they count it and check it and make sure it's all good. One other thing too, I'll let you know, the adult services manager, she is really great about having replacement parts for tiny little things that really don't matter. So then they just replace it, and they don't bill a patron, you know, if it's like a 20-cent bobbin, and I don't know what they are, so don't quote me, okay? But you know, she'll just
no quotes.
We won't bill the patron for it. So they have that kind of mentality too, that, you know, these are tiny pieces. Sometimes they're not gonna come back. Sometimes one card isn't gonna come back in a game. You know, what are you gonna do? Those kinds of things. We don't bill patrons for like one card from the Harry Potter set of games, you know. So anyway, I hope that helps. She is very good about that.
That does help. Thank you.
Okay, any other thoughts? Yeah.
I
go
was
ahead.
going to add for storage related questions that a lot of our library of things we have a like dummy cases for, and that's how it's displayed to patrons. And then we have shelving that's kind of behind our checkout desk that a lot of it is on. And I was also going to add that we have a tech agreement that patrons sign when they're checking out things like the hotspot and the Chromebooks, just as another liability thing. And then we have a separate agreement for telescopes, and there's a couple places they have to sign saying they're liable for damage and also to not point it at the sun.
Which I found out 2024 is the eclipse, so that's going to be a big one again. So get your glasses ready. If you can't find your glasses, remember how we all ran out of the glasses?
Oh, I saved mine.
Yeah, that came across on my news feed this morning. Plan your trip for 2024. Cleveland is probably the closest. Okay, yeah, we have yet to start circulating our sewing machines. It's done by our 3D, or I'm sorry, our makerspace, and they want to add thread, like be adding thread to give to patrons as part of the circulating thing. So we're going back and forth with offering thread, just because it's not something you can inventory very easily or catalog or determine if it's in there or not, or if it's gone. So yeah, and the bobbins, but Maggie, I had no idea what a bobbin was either until someone actually showed me what one looks like. It was not what I was expecting a bobbin to look like.
So I actually built the Library of Things collections at Indian Trails, and it ran when I was there as the maker manager. So one of the things I can tell you that we did when we were setting up the collection was we built into the budget a consumables amount. So we knew that there were going to be things that we always replaced and things like that. So if you can start from the beginning with things and kind of have those in there, like thread is ridiculously cheap. I mean, so that's the other part too, is somebody else mentioned buying in bulk and things like that is very important. Also, when you're thinking about storage, think about transport, because when you're putting these very expensive items, you don't just want to hand it to somebody in like a Rubbermaid bin. Most of the things that we did were the Amazon brand of Pelican cases that also too were like, sewing machine is hella heavy. So we had things that are like rolling suitcases that people could roll in and out of the building as well. So when you're taking accessibility into it, also think about how transport and protecting your things as they go in and out. But yeah, it's a crazy thing to think about all those little parts and things like that. Our cataloger at Indian Trails, Richard, is a stellar person. So yeah, but think about the other things too. Like, do they need a pair of scissors, or do you need a pair of other things too? So if you want to make it a really good experience, it's not always just the tool, it's the accoutrement that go with it. So consider that too. We also would have like cloth that people could take for free that patrons donated to us. So Indian Trails has an excellent program.
Thank you, Jen, for mentioning all that.
Well, I have a question about makerspace stuff, or just library of things. Does any library send out American Girl dolls?
Thank you.
Wow.
No.
Fox River Valley does.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Mine does.
Okay, just was curious. I mean, that's our new one that we're adding. I just, how does that work out?
We have them in little Rubbermaid coffins, as they've been deemed, because they're just lying in there ready to go. We have the list of everything that's included on the inside of the lid with the itemization of what it's worth. We understand that a lot of the things came as like a set. So if somebody loses like a hair tie, that's really hard to replace versus a shoe or a top or something like that. So we do tend to be a little more lenient on the smaller, harder to replace things. But if it's something like they gave the doll a haircut. We're going to have to send her to the American Girl Doll Hospital to get a new head of hair. We'll obviously charge them for that. It's been very well received, but it's also been pretty much what you would expect loaning out dolls to children. As long as you can emotionally detach from like, this is going to have a shorter shelf life than some of the other things, like it's been very, very popular.
One thing that we noticed when we were cataloging too, is we started just putting our name in front of everything as well as a number for each unit. So if we knew that a patron called us and it was damaged, we added a number to it. So if it's American Girl Doll number 1 and maybe the shoe's not there, but you have another one circulating, we could place a hold on it. Made it a lot easier for circulation rather than having to go, okay, which American Girl Doll was it again that we had to pull? Or if they're like our updates to the hotspots, that was a big one. I know Evanston, when Gabby can attest to that, there's a ton of hotspots at Evanston, and knowing which one had to be brought back to either because turned off or updates, those were helpful to have the numbers attached. So if you do have a cataloger who can add your name, it helps out. We did that for our tote bags because we could never find where they were in the catalog. Okay, Miko, just to confirm, the chat's going to be sent in the notes. Thank you.
Yes, there is a lot of great information in the chat this time around. So absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, I think I'm done.
Okay. All right, so we do have some other things that were brought in after the agenda went out. So let's go over those. So this one is, let's see, hold on, what is this one? Oh, this is about library codes for the rail slips, and this is Nina. So do you want to take that away and talk about it?
Yes. So I have had a little bit of problem with this since we stopped being able to. We had a automatic printing system, I believe. Glenview did also for the.
I'm so heartbroken that
I know.
Can't have it still.
Yeah, I really, really loved it, and our people got so used to it, and it was great. So kind of slacked off, and I'm allowing them to use the last grouping of letters to put the in the rails slips rather than look at this separate sheet. So when you check in an item, it comes up with a thing in Leap, and it gives the last 3 digits. Usually it's not a problem. Like for Carrie's library, it would be DUK, but sometimes it comes up DUQ. I haven't had any problems. Nobody's complained at Rails, so I was just wondering what everybody else did. Perhaps I'm borrowing trouble, but I'm just letting them put either DUQ or DUK. So that's my question.
I don't think I understand the problem.
I'm just wondering if we've had what people do. So it used to be.
Are you saying there's an error or something popping up?
No, there used to be very strict rules about what you were allowed to put on that rail slip. It had to be
branches for certain libraries, you mean?
Right,
versus their
right.
main.
Like
I see what you mean.
Evanston or whatever. It had to go to the main branch. You couldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
They're putting DR for drive up. I think that's great. Has anybody had any complaints from Rails about this, or so I can be?
I was under the impression that those rules were still in place, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
so
but
we just do the
way.
main. No, I know.
Yeah.
We just always do the main branch, but no
We
matter what comes
also-
up on the.
I think because of the slip that we had before, which was, it streamlined the process of tagging in transit items. But now and what happened was that was programmed so it would go to the to the main library and not the branches. We had it programmed in, and now that that's done, now our minds, mine and Nina's, are back to thinking like, oh, the slip okay, now we have to pay attention again about, is it really the main or is it the branch, like, are we, so I guess we do have to still send it to the
Does
main.
Rails deliver to branches? Or do they have separate bins that go to the different branches, or does it all go to the main library?
I thought that's why it was set up that way, but I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, but I haven't any complaints from Rails. So I just feel like rather than have them have to look at this and then go to that, that they should be able to just look at what's on the screen and use those last.
Those 3 letters and just put it on.
I brought that up.
Not, I think that maybe CCS should fix that.
I brought that up. Oh, sorry, Miko.
No, go ahead, Anastasia.
No, I was gonna say, I brought that up when we first migrated, but I think it's because of the branch locations in Polaris. So I think you can't say it's going to Evanston, Maine when it's really going, right? Is that right, Miko?
Right, because it's going to always pick up the patron's pickup location. So if the patron wants to pick it up at the branch, it's going to display the branch. The codes need to be unique. So that's why there's a different code for the branch versus the main location. So my understanding with Rails is that I think the expectation or desire is that you use the main location initials because that's where the delivery goes to. That's how they sort at the facilities. And then when it gets to the main location, then they internally sort to branch, drive up, etc.
Darn it. Oh.
Well, Nina, I'm kind of getting sweaty looking at all these chats because I have no doubt that my staff does not look at the main branches and we just put whatever pops up in the,
And
yeah.
I haven't had anybody complain, so I feel like I should just keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going rogue because as some folks are saying, it's kind of, not that it's hard to figure out the main branch, but on the Rails side too, it's not that hard to figure out which one it's going to if they're sorting it. They're clearly not having, well,
yeah,
I'm unaware of issues that they're having, but.
Well, then, I mean, we always have new staff too, so, they're not going to be familiar with all the different locations and branches.
So are we all secretively just writing whatever 3 letters are popping up? There's several of us probably doing it and are unaware that it's even happening.
Well,
because really at Rails, I think maybe it could be them that takes the burden on of when they see the 3 letters where, but I don't know. We'd have to talk to Rails to see what they do.
That's not.
But I don't want to open a can of worms because like Nina says, if there's nobody saying anything, then it must be getting where it's supposed to go.
Well, Indian Trail, we prefer that the stickers say exactly where it's going. So we write everything, the whole thing. So
because how do you know, any of you that have a branch, if we send it to your main, how do you, and it's your 3 letters, how do you know it's going to go to, you have to do more work to know it's going somewhere else to one of your branches.
If it says WGKB, that's the branch. And if it says WGKDR, it's the drive up. So if
I love it when they put the drive up. Yeah.
It does help when we empty the rail bins to know, to be able to separate everything.
When I see that, what I do is I put the 3 letters at the top, and by the 4, I put like DR or whatever it is after that. So it would be like WNK 4, and over there I'd write DR. So if there's anything beyond the 3 letters on the outside on the 4 thing, I'm putting whatever the additional letters are. So when the person pulls it out, yeah, it's going to that location, but they can see where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
That way I figured it keeps Rails happy with the 3 letters, but if somebody's gone to the trouble of indicating something else, then it's there so they can see that.
But don't libraries see when they trap it if it's going to their drive up?
Well, yeah, but I don't know what they're doing on their end with them. So I don't know. I also remembered that they wanted just the 3 letters. So that was my way of trying to, all the letters are there. They're just separated a little.
Yeah.
I don't know if that matters or helps. I don't have a branch, so I don't know what happens with those things when they get there.
Well, it does help to have DR because our drive up computer is different than the rest of our check-in computers. It only works for drive-up material. So it's a big help if it says DR after WGK, because then we don't, it saves a step from check-in to check it in and then find out it has to go to DR. So that it's an extra step. If it doesn't.
That's the same at Glenview too.
Yeah.
Or
If
the
they
same as
empty the
Downey.
rail, they make a cart, the rail bins, they make a cart for that say drive up, they make a cart that say branch, and a cart that says WGK.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the drive up added to the slip, so.
I feel like our library might be the only offender with the code that doesn't have our 3 letters at the beginning and then like branch or DR. Like Nina said, we are DUK and then DUQ. Like, does anybody else have a branch where it's not their first 3 letters and then a 4th or 5th letter?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Winnetka.
Okay.
Yeah, they're WBK.
Yeah.
Algonquin is ALQ as
Mhm.
well.
That's right. Thank you.
So we're supposed to use the main code branches only, right? Just to clarify.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I sent a link in chat to the Rails member directory. And it also includes it's scoped to CCS libraries. And it also includes a column in there for delivery ILL information, which includes the Rails code. So it obviously, because this is like Rails delivery, it doesn't include things like drive up branches because those aren't separate branches in the eyes of Rails.
Well, that was it. I just, yeah. I'll probably keep doing it the way I've been doing it, because so far no one's complained, and I think they're probably figuring it out. And then we'll just let Cheryl deal with it when she takes the
It looks like there's only 4 libraries that have it where we have to make sure we're directing it to their main branch. So it's not too many libraries, but Palatine has 2 branches, it looks like, so. Okay, anybody want to make any more comments about that topic? Are we okay? All right, so the next item is the topic is for those of us who have a drive-up window. There are a variety of questions that Karen has from Fremont.
Right, since obviously, yes, our drive-up window went live, but right now we haven't had anybody because we haven't really advertised it yet. You know, we're just kind of, you know, we're doing curbside right now, and we want to just like, now that we have this drive-up window functioning, we're going to end up getting rid of those curbsides and doing this. So I was just wondering if your drive-up windows are open the same time as your library's open, like, you know, like 9 to 9, the whole time you're open, the drive-up's open.
Yes, for Glenview.
Yes, for what library do I work for? PHK. I just went blank there for a minute.
Yeah. And because of that, do you guys have any kind of issues at close with people lining up at your drive-up window?
Only when COVID was in its fullness, we stayed open till 9:15, 9:30 sometimes with the line, but under normal conditions, no.
No,
problem.
even on the weekends, you don't have any issues?
No.
Okay, you know, I was just thinking of the stragglers that we always get in the library, the last 5 minutes, and you have the big line, you know, waiting for checkout or whatever. If that like, they're like, oh, I can get to the drive up. And I just was wondering, yeah, if you guys.
I mean,
had
it
any-
might happen here and there, but I don't think it would be the norm. But yours is new, so I suspect
Well,
if you advertise it, people are gonna, you might find it more often in the beginning, you know, at closing time, that maybe have some last minute people, but.
And
We have not, and at least nobody's told me that we've had that
Okay,
issue. So
okay.
I'm assuming we have not.
Now, I think our drive-up window is sort of like Algonquin's, where it is right where our book drop is. So, I mean, does one person just man your drive-up window the entire day? Or do you guys just go over there when someone buzzes that they're there? How do you work that?
So when we recently renovated and we renovated the book drop area with a computer workstation and everything back there. So in the hopes that maybe someday I could actually have a person working back there all day. But at this point, no, we just, when somebody calls, you know, they ring the bell back there, we pick up the phone in the circ department, and then we run back and take care of the drive up window. But it's right next to our book drop as well.
Okay, and you said when they buzz in, you pick up a phone?
So we have a doorbell system that rings not a telephone, but like a telephone in our department, in our circ department. We tried a ring doorbell that was not functional. There was too much metal out there, I think, and I don't know. And plus we have poor reception in this area. So this ring or this doorbell, and it also has a camera on it so we can see who's out there. I mean, that doesn't always help, but you know.
Oh yeah, I think I'd like to maybe speak with you about that, because that's one of our issues right now is the intercom system. I mean, we can't use it. Like they ring, you push the button, it's all just static. It's probably because of the metal. So we have a window that we're supposed to open right now and yell out to them.
Well, and we also at the book drop, we do have an intercom, but you know, I don't even think we use it really, because once we open that drawer, they can hear us if they need to say anything. I mean, I'll have to ask my staff if they're using the intercom much. I don't think they are, but maybe.
But yeah,
but that's separate from the doorbell thing.
Okay, that sounds great. And then what are people's busiest times for drive up? Is it usually like after work, like from 4 to 6?
So as
you know, it's dropped off considerably now that people can come in the building. So I wouldn't say we have any very busy time anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say for us at Glenview, our window is manned the entire time that we are open. And everybody does a 2-hour shift in there, rotate people through. And we do have a doorbell as well outside the building. But when they press that, it rings through a phone system, intercom. But I mean, that's how it's set up now. I mean, some people will pull up. We have the drops are right there as well, which it wasn't the best design because you want people to be able to pull up to your window, but yet still pull up and drop stuff if they wanted to and pull away. So it kind of holds everybody up a bit, but you just work with what you got, you know. So yeah.
So do you have a lot of people then that are just like bypassing those drop returns and wanting to do it through your window?
No, actually they don't, because the drops are before the window. So they'll pull up, drop and go away. I mean, not go away, but drive off.
Well,
or they'll pull up, drop off and then pull up to the window and then ask us to pick up holds and whatever else they're needing to do. So yeah.
Well, that's good to know, because that was one of my concerns, because yes, our drops are first, the returns are first, and then the window.
I mean, sometimes people do pull up and then hand you the one item and then say, can I, and then we're like, okay, thank you. And then we just put it in the bin ourselves or whatever, but not the norm. Yeah.
So real quick, I just want to catch up on some chats here. ELA also has an intercom that they use all the time. And in terms of busiest times, we have Carrie's is after school, and ELA's are the morning, lunch, and after school and after work periods.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate that.
Okay, so we have another item. And the question is, what apps that libraries are using for digital library cards? And this is Anastasia.
Thank Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, we currently use Keyring, but we've been having some issues with it. So I was just wondering what other libraries use for their patrons to download their library cards, since they never want to bring their physical card with them.
We have Communico, so it's right on there with our app.
That's what Northbrook does too. Because we have the self-check scans mostly. We encourage patrons to take a picture of their barcode. It scans right there.
Yeah, the self-checks we got are working. I took a picture of one of our test patron cards. I didn't try real hard or get great lighting or anything. Went over there, I just had to make it big enough. It wasn't even brightness, just making sure that it was big enough to read the barcode. And it went through on all of them, no problem. So they didn't even need an app if they really don't want to. But we don't have one. We don't have, I thought we had one, but I don't think we have one right now. I could be wrong. I'll double check.
There's another comment for Communico at Niles, and Morton Grove uses MyLibro.
All right, any other comments on that? No? All right, we do always keep on the agenda if there's any new managers or staff that want to introduce themselves to the group. We welcome that, so I don't know if there is or isn't. Tori.
I'd like to say, are there any new faces?
I know exactly.
Well,
For some reason, I'm stuck in some screen where I can only see a few of you, so.
I want to introduce Cheryl Allen, who will be taking over for me when I retire. I don't think she has her picture up, but she's here somewhere. So,
Well, welcome to her then. All right. All right, everybody. I call for a motion, I guess, to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move.
Who's that?
I want to go home. That's Ann. Prospect Heights.
Okay. Moves to get out of here.
That's right.
Who's seconding it?
I'll second it.
Nina would
Had to
like
say
to
your
have a
name.
final.
Yep, give it to Nina.
Yeah, why not? She's retiring.
Nina,
When is your
Jerry.
last day, Nina?
Technically, it'll be June 24th,
Okay.
but I'll still be
Congratulations.
paid through July, so I'll still.
All right, then. Thank you, everybody. Good meeting.
Thank you.